Call in, connect. Speak to Randy. Call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
All right, Jay in Michigan.
Randy, this is a dark day, but let me start with this. So many years ago, when Merrick Garland first got sworn in after it was delayed, a few weeks after that, I called in to you and I said, why hasn't everybody who was part of the January 6th debacle been hauled off to jail for a 20-year sentence, and why isn't Trump in jail right now for a 20-year sentence? And you told me to hold on. And we held on, and then Merrick Garland did this sclerotic, I think is the best way, most charitable way to describe it, prosecution of these seditious people. And they realized that nothing was going to happen to them, probably because they were white, or at least that's the lesson they drew. Even despite the ones that even got jail sentences, the jail sentences were a joke. And then they made money on the joke and went out in a defiant attitude, not an attitude of, of regret. So I think we didn't treat the January 6th thing as the opportunity to rid ourselves of these seditious people. We looked at it as something that had to be prosecuted when it was a clear national security issue. And it remains a clear national security issue. The espionage with Trump. Ukraine, what are you going to do there? What about NATO? I think the only way to point forward is to hope that Biden ignores all institutionalists and declares martial law and rounds up all those people. And you'll say, no, don't. And I'm like, yeah. Because if you're going to castigate me into a hellhole of 4 more years of these people, these racist idiots, these misogynists, and 52% of white women voted with Trump.
Yeah.
52% of white women decided to abrogate their own bodily autonomy. And if they're that stupid, I can't help them. But what I can do is to promise that those people from January 6th, they need 20-year sentences.
Well, some of them.
Every one of them. Anybody remotely tied to it should be gone by now. And we played around with it, and all they learned, like the judges in Germany, when Hitler threw that putsch and it failed in Bavaria.
Right.
Okay. Remember when they sent him to jail, and then they gave him good food, and they let him have visitors, and they treated it as a joke. And, they let him out early for good behavior because he was popular, and they were just fascinated with his good behavior.
They were fascinated.
They were covering for him.
Yeah.
They were covering for him, and they were dedicated institutionalists. I don't know if they were doing it consciously or unconsciously, but whatever it is, they let it metastasize until it ran rampant. And that's what we've let happen now. We have been way too kind.
Okay.
We have been way too kind, and it's cost us everything.
Okay. So you're saying that you want Joe Biden to declare martial law?
And arrest everybody remotely associated with January 6th.
Okay. All right. So obviously I'll let you say everything that you wanted to say, right?
Thank you, Randy.
No, I'm
listening.
Okay, good. Yeah. So over 1,000 people have been, put in jail for January 6th. You have, Stuart Rhodes, who got, 18 years, and you have Enrique Tarrio from the Proud Boys got 22 years, the longest sentence of all of them. You've got Miggs. You got a whole bunch of people that got very long sentences, and they're in jail. Let me tell you what Donald Trump is going to do. He's going to release them. The way he talks about emptying prisons, which nobody does, Donald Trump has done. He did it in Afghanistan. He released 5,000 of the ISIS prisoners that we actually caused to be captured and jailed in Afghanistan ahead of leaving his office as president, so that Joe Biden would have to be dealing with the worst of the worst when he, was going to meet the end date to get us out of there, because Donald Trump set the date. Right. So there's that.
Right.
But he's going to empty the jails now. Now you're going to get the January 6th people freed. Now they're going to be out of jail. Now he's going to go through jails, and he is going to let all kinds of people go, all kinds of violent people go. He's going to create a hellhole for us, is what he's going to do.
I don't even want to get to that conclusion, is what I'm trying to say to you. I'm saying between now and January 20th, we need to put an end to all this, as you were fond of saying in the last couple of days, like that quote from the Godfather. We need to put an end to all this. They participated in this. They are participating in a seditious conspiracy with Russia and right-wing fascists all over Europe to subjugate liberal democracies like ours.
Yes,
like
but we do have a liberal democracy,
and we need to hold them responsible.
And the American people voted, and they voted for something else. They voted for a different kind of government. They did not vote to continue the experiment of the republic. They didn't. And I got news for you. Here in Florida, the abortion. We have a 6-week abortion ban. And there was an amendment on our ballot to, get rid of that and to make a constitutional amendment protecting women and their right to choose in this here state. That failed. It did not pass. It failed in South Dakota, too. It failed in 3 states, okay? There are people in this country, women people in this country, that don't want a liberal democracy. They don't want a representative republic or whatever name you want to give. They want something else.
They don't even want bodily. They don't even want bodily autonomy.
No.
They don't even want control of their own body.
Correct.
So why should I revel in a democracy with somebody that's stupid?
Because that's what it is. That's what democracy is, and we're very cyclical about this. Every time things get a little bit better, every time the Democrats come in and they clean up the mess that the Republicans left, whether it's a crashed economy or a COVID pandemic or, a war that's, it's been negotiated and an end date has been set, but you didn't actually see it through and you handed the trouble off to a Democrat, which is what Trump did in Afghanistan. Every time they do that and we fix it, we say, okay, fine, you left a hell of a mess. We'll clean it up. People go, it's not happening fast enough, or it didn't happen in our area, or it didn't happen in our neck of the woods, or we don't see it. You know what the real sick thing is? The real sick thing is that there were people that were working at places that were invested in by the Inflation Reduction Act and the CHIPS and Science Act. People who had jobs in places like in Alabama that actually saw the money, were working at those companies and voted for Trump, who's now going to repeal it. He's going to repeal everything.
Chickens that vote for the colonel. I get it. A lot of those Latino men. They're going to wake up one day and they're going to be like, what have I done? Or they're going to say it in Spanish. And then they're going to be deported. And it's going to happen. It'll happen by probably some private military people that Trump knows and likes and gives money to, since it's federal money, and he can spend it any way he wants.
No, it won't come that way.
The system is coming apart.
It will come through an immunized police force. It will come through immunized sheriff's departments.
Legal murder.
It will come through your regular state police, who will be given blanket immunity. Donald Trump already said that. He said it out loud.
Murder.
He said it out loud, and people voted for it. They did. They voted for it. Now, I agree. They voted for Hitler, too. They did. They made him chancellor. Donald Trump has promised darkness. He has told you. Elon Musk said, you're going to go through some things. It's going to be hard. Donald Trump said it's going to be really, really hard at the beginning. Really hard. People voted for him. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.